So, Netflix is fighting this kind of secret war. And what's on the line? Oh, just their crown jewel, Stranger Things. In this explainer, we're going to dive into the super high stakes PR battle to protect the show from all these past scandals that are bubbling back up right in time to threaten its grand finale.
Okay, so to really get why Netflix is in full-on defense mode, you gotta understand just how massive this show is. This chart shows Google search interest. That smaller bar, that's for K-pop Demon Hunters, which, by the way, was a huge hit movie for Netflix. But just look at the interest for Stranger Things. It doesn't just beat it, it absolutely dwarfs it. This isn't just another show. For Netflix, this is a piece of cultural real estate they just can't afford to lose.
And yeah, that brings us straight to the money. This isn't just about how many people are watching. It's about a colossal financial and strategic investment that Netflix has poured into this one single franchise. Get this, over $1 billion. That's the estimated production cost for the series so far. We are talking blockbuster movie budgets for a single episode. This is way more than a show. It's a billion-dollar bet that Netflix is really counting on for its future. So look, to put it simply, Stranger Things is probably the single most important asset Netflix owns right now. It's the most expensive streaming series ever made, with a final season that's on track to just shatter all the old records. But more than anything, it's this huge universe of intellectual property, this IP, that they absolutely cannot allow to get tarnished. And that is exactly why the timing of all this is, well, it's a total nightmare for Netflix. The controversies we're talking about aren't new. They're like these ghosts from the past, and they're all re-emerging right as the franchise is hitting its absolute peak. You can kind of see the pattern right here. You got political comments from Maya Hawke back in 2022 suddenly trending all over again. Then there's this unscripted kiss incident from way back in season 2 with a 14-year-old CD Sink. That's getting a whole new look. And even these years-old reports involving Millie Bobby Brown and David Harbour are being dragged back into the light. The point is, they're all bubbling up at the exact same time. But out of all of these, the one that our sources say is the real danger is the Sadie Sink incident. And the context here is everything. It's about a 14-year-old actor, allegedly being pressured into doing an unscripted scene. That's the thing that makes the story so particularly dangerous for the show's creators, the Duffer Brothers. So, with $1 billion hanging in the balance, how does Netflix deal with all this? Well, it turns out they have a very, very specific playbook. All right, check this out. You can see the two approaches right here, side by side. Your typical studio, right? They might freak out. They'd put out official statements, get other stars to comment on it. Basically, they'd pour gasoline on the fire. But Netflix, they do the complete opposite. Their whole strategy is just absolute silence. They let the story die down on its own, and they avoid what's called the Streisand effect. You know that thing where trying to hide something just makes way more people look at it? This brings up a massive question, though. Is this silent treatment a sign that they're weak? Or is it, some kind of masterclass in modern PR? Well, the argument for it being a brilliant success is actually pretty compelling. One source even wondered if maybe Disney CEO Bob Iger should just hire whoever's running PR at Netflix, because by refusing to engage, they've somehow kept these stories from completely taking over the conversation about their biggest show. But, and this is a big but, is that masterful PR really the reason the show is doing so well? Or is there something much, much bigger going on here that's making Stranger Things basically untouchable? Which leads us to this really powerful counterargument. What if Netflix's PR strategy doesn't actually matter all that much? What if the real reason the show is surviving this has more to do with, well, with us, the audience? I love how our source material puts this. Stranger Things is a freight train. I don't think anything could derail it at this point, save a bad ending. The whole theory here is that the show has reached this, cultural escape velocity. It's just too big to fail. The only real danger left is if they mess up the ending, kind of like what happened with Game of Thrones. So why would audiences just not care? Well, the argument is that we're all just exhausted. There's this collective drama fatigue after years of being, overexploited with online scandals. A lot of us now, we immediately question the legitimacy of whatever we read online. And at the end of the day, a really, really good story just becomes more powerful than any of the drama happening behind the scenes. Okay, so where does that leave us? Let's pull these two big ideas together and really get to the heart of what's going on here. And this, right here, is the core tension. On one hand, you've got Netflix's super smart, super disciplined PR strategy. And on the other hand, you've got us, a jaded, drama-proof audience that just might not care anymore. So the real question is Netflix this master sailor, expertly navigating a crazy storm? Or is the audience just not even looking at the weather anymore?
And this all leaves us with a really provocative final thought. This whole Stranger Things situation, it might just be a test case for a whole new era in media. An era where a beloved story can become so culturally huge that it's just bulletproof. So, has the freight train of a hit show finally become more powerful than the scandals that would have totally derailed it just a few years ago? It's a fascinating question, and it really makes you wonder where the power truly lies today.